So we're going to take a look at Genesis. I'm sorry. In some ways, I'm sorry for plodding along as I do, because I think people want, action. But I'm not sorry because I think some of these things are so important, and you got to kind of get it into your bones. I think, in order to have a decent foundation for your faith. So we're gonna take a look at Genesis 2:18 and go from there. Are you guys also? I was just curious. Are you guys actually reading the text as well? Is that helpful?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Look, it's perfectly fair game. I should give a list of where I get this from. I don't have a single idea that's my own of any of this. You know that, right? I stole all of this. Yeah, all of it, every word of it. The words are mine, but the information comes from, it's just a few sources. It's not that many sources that I get this from. So if you want to get, the original material, I can give that to you without too much trouble. This might be 10, 15. It's all in my head.
Not necessary. We like your interpretation.
Yeah, I pull it down into my, that I get credit for.
Yeah, no, I think if you don't read the word before you get into what you've written, you miss a big chunk.
I think so.
What you've written really does make you think, and I think that's the purpose, the profitability of the work, is that it shouldn't just run in, run out, run in, spend time to percolate and think about it,
Exactly.
And
Well,
I think there's a lot to think about.
oh, and I mean, the longer I'm reading the Bible and hanging around the Bible, I guess it's been 15 years or 50 years now. It just gets better and better and deeper because I'm ready for it.
Right.
The reader is ready. Anyway, we call so much of what I do prolegomena, like I jabber on before sermons, for instance. I do that every week to try to set the stage for to land this thing, this passage of every week. You land it, but you want to have some place for it to land. Otherwise, it just doesn't seem to work for me the other way. Just hear the word, and anyway. But if you read this stuff, for instance, during the week and get ready for the next class, and you have a question, I'd be happy to. Hey, Sandy.
Hey.
I'll see you after class. God, I had that almost every week when I was a student. But if you have questions about what I've written, please bring them up. It's okay to do that. It's your class, So, all right. So
Going back to which section are we referring to?
I'm on page 5.
I don't see 1:18.
I'm on page 5 where it says Genesis 2:3 through 24. Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. That's where I am. Okay.
Okay.
So how about if we read 18 through the end of the chapter? Shall we do that? Let's try that. Out loud.
Then the Lord God said.
Sure.
Then the Lord God said, "It is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him a helper as his partner." So out of the ground the Lord God formed every animal of the field and every bird of the air and brought them to the man to see what he would call them. And whatever the man called every living creature, that was its name. The man gave names to all cattle and to birds of the air and to every animal of the field. But for the man there was not found a helper as his partner. So the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon the man, and he slept. Then he took one of his ribs and closed up its place with flesh. And the rib that the Lord God had taken from the man, he made into a woman and brought her to the man. Then the man said, "This at last is bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. This one shall be called woman, for out of man this one was taken."
Thank you. Okay. See where all our troubles come from? There's more to come. What God looks upon this man, Adam, and says it's not good for him to be alone. He's not alone. He's not alone. Who's with him? God. Can you be alone? This is what I mean. This is big stuff. Can you be alone and be with God? Yes. And how do you feel about a God who has the empathy to see the situation? Is that what gods do? Gods typically don't care. This one has empathy, he sees it. Yeah, sees it. You can be alone with God and still, you can feel alone even though God is near. That's profound, I think. Don't you? God is not enough, and God knows it. That's pretty great stuff. And God will do something about it. All three of those things. God knows it, God feels it, and God's going to do something about it. That is class. All the other gods are going to say, "Buck up. I am the only one that you need. I'm the only one that you need to serve. And as far as your own needs, buck up." All the other gods will do that. This is the only one that's going to say, "I see the situation. I see it. I see your situation. And I'm not enough. And I'm going to do something about it." And the other thing we're going to see throughout the Bible has to do with proximity. The proximity of God. There will be times where God is as close as a whisper, right? Literally a whisper to the prophets. "I'm right here. I'm right in your ear." Close as a brother or a sister. And then as far as proximity, we're going to get with Jesus. My God, why have you forsaken me?" Right? The issue of proximity is all the way through the Bible, and it starts here. It starts right here. Like God is in the garden, which is Tov, complete, full, as it should be, wonderful place to live. I'm as close as anything, and I need to be one step back for this to work. That's class. Am I making sense? I think part of a successful life is to know where you should be at different times with other people. Do you need to be close as a whisper at times? I think yes. Other times you need to give a person space. Right? I'm dealing with that with people who are grieving. It seems like I don't know what's going on, but I've got 5 people in 2 weeks that are losing. Big time. How much space do they need from me? Close, really close? Do they need to kind of feel their feelings by themselves? What do I need to do? How close should I be? And each person's different, right? It starts right here. Most, I just want to reiterate, most gods couldn't care less about your situation because it's about them. Most gods are terribly narcissistic. And they see everything through their own eyes. This one doesn't do that. There's empathy there. This guy is lonely, he's hurting, and I need to remove myself somewhat for this to work. Very classy thing to do. So what happens? Makes a partner. How does God do it? And by the way, Jewish people know that this is not the way you make people. Right? They're not Italians, but they're...
Why just the Jewish people?
Huh?
Why just the Jewish people?
Well, this is a Jewish story. So, but yeah, God does this by what? What's the process in the story? What's the story say?
He took a rib out.
Yeah, we're gonna put this guy down, take a rib out, and make a woman from the man.
From the man.
From the man. Okay.
That's cloning.
Sorry?
That's cloning.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Karen. I knew I could count on you. Yeah, the first account of cloning.
It is.
That's right. That's right. Good point. Great
All
point.
these anti-cloners better read the Bible.
I do think at this stage, I could be wrong, but is this the first and only time that a man has produced another human being?
Maybe.
I think so. Is that true? First and only time a man has produced a human being. Never going to happen again. I think that's true, isn't it?
I don't know. A few years ago,
Did we pull that off? A few years ago?
thought.
I don't know.
I don't know. There was something.
Well, do we need to know anything about, say, the
But there
Egyptians?
was
I don't know.
that a guy had the baby. Did anybody else ever do that?
Now
It
again,
was a science fiction book.
yeah, I don't know. I don't think so. I couldn't say for sure. But remember, this is a mythological story. You got to keep reminding yourself that. This is not history.
Right.
This is mythology. This is about everybody. This isn't history in the sense, okay, it's for those people back there. This is for us people here. That's what mythology is. That's the difference. It's about everybody. So God is gonna name this woman. And what's her name? Woman. She's gonna be named. Yeah, he's gonna name this person Eve.
Who is?
Yeah.
Who names? Does that come in 3? I think so. She shall be called woman.
Yes.
Yeah, Adam.
Woman. Helen, did you?
3:20, the man named his wife Eve.
The
Okay.
man named the wife.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
And isn't it interesting that before all this, God sees that Adam, the man, is lonely. And so what does he do? He gives the man the opportunity to name all the animals. Naming in the Bible, names and naming in the Bible are very important. It gives a sense of power. There are many stories in the Bible where the question is asked, who are you? And the name given will give you a hint of what the story's all about. Who are you? I am Legion. You know, who are you? And so on. And so naming, who are you? I am that I am. I'm Yahweh. And the name given will tell you a lot about who that person is. And we get that here too, that God has given man, the power of naming. And that's not enough either.
I was just gonna say, I think that naming, because naming, I think implies a sense of intimacy, more of a sharing, and I feel like God is sensing this isn't enough for him. I think that's really hard, because, I mean, God was seeking fellowship with man. It wasn't enough. The intimacy wasn't enough. And I'm thinking, name the beasts and name them breaks down a barrier and makes you more intimate. But there's still that piece that says, this doesn't cut it. And imagine, this doesn't cut it, my fellowship with God. I need something more. That's very hard for me to wrap my head around.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I anticipate and expect that God will provide and meet everything that I need. I don't know, is it the humanness, whatever it is, and God is starting to see and do things, I think, to answer that, meet that need in Adam, and yet the intimacy of bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh, bingo, that's the answer, you know?
Yeah, it's so true. And keep reminding yourself, and I do too, this is happening in the garden.
Yeah.
This is before anybody ate any fruit at all. You know, this is happening in the garden. So I think a lot of us have this idea of the garden being a perfect place. It's not. You've got all this other stuff going on during this time. And so things can be full, but things can be full and complete, and yet there is a narrative going on that's adding in that space of the garden, that is anything but complete. You see what I mean? Yes.
Not perfect.
Not perfect. It's not perfect. It's full, but it's not perfect, and things are emerging now that need to emerge. And for me, it really changes my idea of what heaven might be about too. I mean, we have the same. Right? I don't want to spend a lot of time thinking about it today, but you know, it does. You know what's going on up there too. We have these Western notions of perfection that are not cutting it in the Bible. They're not cutting it. That's not where they're going. They're not going perfection. They're going tov. It makes a huge difference. All right, let's see what happens to these characters. Did we read 24? Therefore a man leaves his father and his mother and cleaves to his wife. And they become one flesh, one. And the man and his wife were both naked, and they were not ashamed. They're going to be. Okay, someone read 1 through 7. Let's see what happens.
Are you on 4 now?
I mean, 3, 1 through 7? Something like that. Somebody read that for us?
Now the serpent was more crafty than any of the wild animals the Lord God had made. He said to the woman, Did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden?
Is that where we are? Hang on, Pat.
Right?
Yep, forgive me, yep.
All right.
Yep, you are correct.
The woman said to the serpent, we may eat fruit from the trees in the garden, but God did say, you must not eat fruit from the tree that is in the middle of the garden, and you must not touch it, or you will die. You will not surely die, the serpent said to the woman, for God knows that when you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. When the woman saw that the fruit of the tree was good for food and pleasing to the eye, and also desirable for gaining wisdom, she took some and ate it. She also gave some to her husband who was with her, and he ate it. Then the eyes of both of them were opened, and they realized they were naked. So they sewed fig leaves together and made coverings for themselves.
Okay, thank you. So we have what's called a little inclusio at the end of 2. They were not ashamed, and now they are ashamed. It's a circle, an inclusio. And so a perfect garden will have a serpent in it?
Circle.
A serpent. Will a perfect garden have a serpent like this in it? Is that your idea of perfection?
Yeah.
No? Is that your idea of a good story? Can they emerge? What's that, Helen? Did you say something inappropriate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said to Sandy, nor Kristen, she has it named her daughters.
She gets it right from the serpent.
Yeah, it was from the serpent,
Oh.
nothing.
Okay. So we've got a serpent in the garden. Tell me about introduce me to the serpent. What's the serpent? What do we know about the serpent?
It's crafty, evil.
Crafty,
He's an
evil.
creature.
Huh?
He's an evil creature.
Evil creature. The serpent knows his Bible.
Makes life hard.
Makes life hard. He knows his Bible. He's quoting. What does a woman say in defense? He goes, I'll just eat it. So what? Your eyes will be open. This will be fabulous. Is that a lie? Will their eyes be opened?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's true. They're going to see that they're naked and they're ashamed. It's true. He's not lying. What does she say in defense? Go ahead and eat it. And she goes, well, we can't eat it. Nor can we touch it. That's what God told us. Did God say that? No. She wasn't listening. That's not what God said. She wasn't listening. God says, don't eat it. He never said, don't touch it. She got it wrong.
I don't understand if there's evil in the world. Where was it then? Was only the serpent the evil one? I mean, how was evil in the world? There was nothing in the world but a man, a woman, and all of these critters.
Well,
What was evil? I mean,
it says in 3. Well, this is mythology, so it's not just about this little story. It's about us, right? What's the first line in 3, in chapter 3? I mean, it's unbelievable, this line. The very first line.
It doesn't,
And keep going. That the Lord God made.
but it doesn't say he was evil. It says he was crafty.
Okay, all right, I'll go with crafty. But he's going to be responsible, in part at least, for the downfall of humanity, right? Now the serpent was more subtle than any other wild creature that the Lord God had made. God made that serpent. Where does evil come from? God made it. Sorry, can you live with that? What the hell is going on here?
so you would know good.
We want to skip right over that, right? I do. Skip right over it. God is light, God is righteous, God is blessing, God is forgiveness. You know, it's a long list. What about that?
I guess he had to have something to, for
Comparison.
the man and woman to test them to see whether they would obey him or not. They didn't. So,
How important is darkness to our lives? To a human life? How important is it? What does it do for us?
Well, it differentiates, which is what we talked about. God made the day and the night and the water and the sky.
Well, that's
So
good. That's good.
differentiating
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, that's good work, Karen.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Separates.
When I make a painting, you can't see how light it is until I have some dark in it. You know, there's a comparison.
Can everybody hear that? You have to have the contrast
Yes.
to see.
and people choose every day.
Choose every day. Yeah.
This is right, that's wrong, what do you choose? And most of us choose something in between, which God doesn't talk about here. He didn't make us an in between,
Yeah.
like a dusk.
How possible is it to have empathy, compassion, if you haven't gone through anything yourself? How possible is that? Do you know people that have been pretty much unscathed by life and living? What kind of a person is that? Typically, I'm going to get some water. Talk about that. Do you know people that have been unscathed by life?
I don't know, does anybody know anybody that's been unscathed?
Not completely, no. Some people are more fortunate than others.
Yeah.
I don't know how we could get through life because
Say it again, Kat.
I don't know how we could get through life and being unscathed.
I don't either.
Living, I think, equals that you're going to have challenges.
Well, I know some pretty shallow people that haven't gone through much. I'm not saying they haven't, but not much. And when something comes up, they are just swamped. You know, even like a hangnail. That, you know, there's the old saying, so when you get a flat tire, some people will change their own tire, other people will call AAA, and AAA. And other people will call 911. Because this is catastrophic.
Isn't there, I mean, I've heard it said that you couldn't have grief without love. Yeah.
Grief is the dark side of love.
Yeah,
It's in our liturgy at funerals.
yeah,
Yep.
and it's true.
Do you see how these are kind of universal matters? Doesn't matter whether you're a Christian, a non-Christian, a Buddhist, or whatever. This is going to hit you no matter who you are. You see, I mean, these are universal matters. Dealing with the nature of darkness. And even when things are full, you know, watch out, because it doesn't mean perfect. And there may be, crazy as it seems, there may be a benefit to pain and suffering. You get your eyes opened, right? Don't they see? Isn't that? Now they got to deal with their shame, right? There's another problem here that comes up, but you start to see with this. So let's, I mean, we talked a little bit about this last week, that, there's this impulse of humanity, of people to know, and so you've got the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Must they eat it to become fully human? Do they have to do it? It's wrong. You're countermanding God's commandment. But you still better do it. Or you don't have there's no story if you don't. Nothing's going to happen.
I think this is the beginning of, I think the serpent is teasing out the darkness in that intimacy. I'm sure that the serpent was beguiling. I'm sure that the serpent was appealing. And the questions and the conversation, I think, teased out the darkness in us. That I have to have the knowledge. I have to know what's going on. Why would he tell me not to eat it if all I'm going to be is more knowledgeable? And hey, wait a minute. Why can't I be like him? I think the point is to show us that goes on. It is there. And it is something that we grapple with. And then hence, that intimacy of the darkness is what helped them to understand they were naked. You know?
Right.
It tapped into more
Right,
darkness.
yeah.
You know?
Well, you think of this, I mean, one of the things that's happening in around the world, in our country as well, has to do with the issue of knowledge.
Yeah.
Right? Just in Florida, for instance, just in the last whatever, DeSantis is closing down, basically going to destroy a university, a little college, 700 students, new college in Florida. Very, very liberal, open, a lot of gay kids and so on. He's gonna destroy that school. And he's bringing people in from Hillsdale College from Michigan, who's very, very conservative. And the issue really is knowledge. Right? What knowledge is permitted? What is good? We get this with congressional oversight of like Google and Facebook and Twitter, for instance. It's all about knowledge. Who gets to know? And how is that knowledge used? And how is it projected? Is it true? Is it false? Is it, it really is a huge issue. AI, right? What is it? Artificial intelligence, AI. Artificial intelligence is all about knowledge. So that's a big issue. It's a huge issue right now around the world and here too. And they're addressing this. This happened long. This was written, 600 BC. It was talked about long before that. That they're already thinking about. Is knowledge dangerous? What can it do? Can it destroy us? Can it shame us? Expose us? Can it? It's a huge issue that they're already talking about it back here. Is it gonna make you wiser? Is it gonna kill you? You eat the fruit, you're gonna die. And do we die? We kind of do. In a way, not physically, but you can see the world kind of halting with this issue right now. It's pulling us, and pounding us, and you've got people in that matrix of knowledge that are being ruined, built, born, destroyed because of knowledge. It was fun.
It's scary.
I rent a house on Walbridge Farm, so I'm safe. I don't have to worry about any of that.
Well, they didn't even know what death was.
They don't know the extent of it, but they know the issue.
Yes.
You know something about God, about yourself. It's going to liberate you and it's going to kill you at the same time.
Right.
And we've been, right? And it's been true ever since. Yeah.
Which the serpent doesn't tickle or dwell on the death part. He only tickles and dwells on.
Correct. That's a great book. The upside, right? This is
Right, this will be a-
fabulous. Yeah.
Because they had nothing to compare dying
Yeah.
to, because
Yeah.
they didn't know that. It
Yeah.
was just something that God said, oh, you'll die, you know?
Sure.
But, and again, it's
And
amazing.
if you listen to the guys, who are these guys? The Google guy and Tesla, when they're being interviewed or by Congress, when they're being questioned by Congress, it's always the upside, right? Because they're little, bratty kids that never got outside or whatever. It's when they were growing up. Yeah, it's only the upside. And yeah, worlds will be made and destroyed. So I don't know. I love the Bible for this. It's like, yeah, we get it. We get it. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna scare you. Okay. How are we doing? We're doing great. See, we're just ripping through this stuff. Fabulous. Okay. All right, let's see what happens now. All right, so we had our little, feast, and now what happens? 8 through 13. Let's do that. 8 through, chapter 3, 8 through 13. Someone give that a shot.
They heard the sound of the Lord God walking in the garden at the time of the evening breeze. And the man and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord God among the trees of the garden. But the Lord God called to the man and said to him, "Where are you?" He said, "I heard the sound of you in the garden, and I was afraid, because I was naked, and I hid myself." He said, "Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree of which I commanded you not to eat?" The man said, "The woman whom you gave to be with me, she gave me fruit from the tree, and I ate."
Thank you. Okay, so God is walking around the garden. But the Lord God called to the man, and he said to him, so he sees the man, right? And then he asks, "Where are you?" It's kind of odd, isn't it? You ask somebody where they are when they're right in front of you? The Bible is conscious of this, by the way. This is not an error in this sense. Is there? How many ways can you interpret that question? Where are you? Right? You go through a big matter in your life. Some really trusted friend comes up to you 6 months later, and they say, "Well, where are you now?" It's not a question of location. It's a question of being. You could also say, "Who are you now?" Who are you now? You've gone through this. God has a pretty good idea what just happened, right? Most gods would. Where are you? I wish I had a nickel for every time I've said that to someone, asked someone that. Where are you? And I've been asked that question too. I was on the phone with Norman Cohenbrander right before class. And we're in the middle of talking about some pretty heavy stuff. And he goes, I cannot find my phone. I said, Norman, it's against your face. He said, oh, sure enough. These are my friends.
I've actually done that.
Have you done that
myself.
before?
Yes.
Just laugh, Yeah, I guess I have it in my hand. He goes, I'm talking to you. Where are you? What's going on? One of the things that you can do to go through the Bible, and it's profitable, I think, to do it. Just look up all the questions. The first question asked is by the serpent. That's the first question in the Bible. And then just go through the Bible and look for questions. And that is a very profitable thing to do. Yeah, I've done that many times over the years. And the questions will just blow your mind. Yeah. Why are you crying? I don't know. My best friend is dead. I can't find him. We're at the tomb. I don't know. Why would I be crying? But it's a good question. Why are you crying? What do you seek? What do you want? I don't know. I'm blind. I'm guessing maybe my sight. Really? You really want to see? You want to see? Really? Who are you? Where are you? Are you going to stories when I say it? You go to those stories? Yeah.
Why do you persecute me?
Why do you persecute me? Am I my brother's keeper? Where have you been?
That's a good one.
Yeah, you can come up with, 20, 30 good questions throughout the Bible that will act as kind of hooks to stories, big stories. And then if you dig a little deeper, right, and it's, because a lot of the questions are pretty obvious. This one is one of them. Where are you? I'm standing right in front of you. Where are you? Where have you been? Who are you? Keep digging down, deeper, deeper, deeper. And find out that he doesn't know where he is. And again, he's in the garden. He should know where he is, but he doesn't know where he is. And pretty soon, he's not going to be there anymore either. See what I mean? Where are you? Is a, just being a fly fisherman. It's a really great way to understand your state, for instance, or Connecticut, I fish a lot in Connecticut. It's an interesting way to understand the state is through the waterways. Where are you? I found that very interesting, rather than the roads, the waterways. It's kind of a neat way to do it. Where am I? Where am I? In relation to the water rather than the road. Anyway, okay. All right, well, let's see. We've got 10 minutes. Yeah, we can pull this off. Good. Let's read through 19. Let's just see what happens to these characters. Like 14 through 19.
The Lord God said to the serpent, because you have done this, cursed are you among all animals and among all wild creatures. Upon your belly you shall go, and dust you shall eat all the days of your life. I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and hers. He will strike your head, and you will strike his heel. To the woman, he said, I will greatly increase your pangs in childbearing. In pain you shall bring forth children, yet your desire shall be for your husband, and he shall rule over you. And to the man he said, because you have listened to the voice of your wife and have eaten the tree about which I commanded you, you shall not eat of it. Cursed is the ground because of you. In toil you shall eat of it all the days of your life. Thorns and thistles it shall bring forth for you, and you shall eat the plants of the field. By the sweat of your face you shall eat bread until you return to the ground, for out of it you were taken. You are dust, and to dust you shall return.
Okay, thank
Pretty
you.
strong words.
Yep. Does it sound like death to you? Is there any death in there? Cause and effect. Cause and effect. Are you happy about cause and effect? How do you feel about cause and effect? Is it a good thing for you?
Well, it helps to understand what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have to think about everything with the consequences of what you're choosing to do or what you're doing and why something might happen if you do this or that. And then what would the effect be either way? I mean, that's just I guess it's a good lesson
Mm-hmm.
to learn. They did something wrong. Now they're done.
If you do this, it's likely that
That's
this
right.
is going to happen.
You did that, so now you're gonna reap the, have the repercussions
Yeah.
from it.
This issue of cause and effect is in dispute
Mhm.
in the world today and in our country as well.
Mhm.
This happens, and this is not the result. Right? You hear that too?
Mhm.
This happened. This will not be the result. Even though it was the result. No, that's not the result. I'm thinking about like the election, but you can go all sorts of places nowadays. The idea of cause and effect. No, that's not the effect. This is the effect. Where you don't have this right. This was not the cause. This never happened. So we're not going to trust the effect. There's some weird stuff going on right now in the world. And, disinformation, lying, perceptions being skewed. I heard this thing about Fox News. They all knew it. They had, all the commentators knew it. The head of the Fox knew that the election was lost. Trump lost the election. Everybody knew it. They're all talking to each other, but we're going to skew it over here. Cause and effect. We're going to mess that up. And we're powerful. We have a powerful voice in the country, at least. So we're gonna mess with that to the point where people are gonna question this over here, and therefore this over here. Putin's doing it. Disinformation. We're doing this because they're Nazis. We're freeing them. We're destroying their cities. We're killing innocent people, children, women, grandparents. We're killing them because we're freeing them. The cause and effect. No, it's not this. It's over here. You can see it all the time, and after a while, it's hard to trust your own senses, right? What's true? And
I never really thought much about this until I heard early on in Trump's reign about alternative truth. And I
right,
thought,
exactly.
wait a
That's
minute.
exactly what we're talking about. Yeah.
There's no
Cause and effect.
alternative
Cause and
truth.
effect. That's not what it is. It's over here.
It's not. This is, and somebody made that statement.
Yeah.
His press
Early
secretary
on,
said
that was made.
Very early
Right.
on
Yeah.
said,
That's right.
oh, well, that was an alternative truth.
And what was her name? What is her name?
We should have all known
Kellyanne Conway said that. She was wearing a red dress when she said it.
In the country.
I don't know, that's just how I wrote it. Yeah, well, George Orwell, 1984. That's a really good book to read again. I'm going to read that book again because it's all about that. It's all about shifting cause and effect. And can you trust your own wits? Can you trust your own eyes? That's not what it is. It's this. You saw that, but really was this. And can you?
And then the effect from all of this. I mean,
Changes.
like now,
Right.
is Fox News going to get punished? I mean, is Dominion gonna knock them down?
Right.
Or are they gonna get away with it? The
I don't
effect is gonna be.
We'll find out. We'll find
It
out.
used to be, if this happened,
Exactly.
this was gonna happen to you, but that's all gone too.
Well, we'll see.
Because
We'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see how the courts
effect is
go.
not, the cause is certainly there, and we see it, we know it, but the effect, we have no control over.
Well, we have
Or
some. We're a
cause it
democracy.
doesn't.
We're a democracy. We're a democracy. So we have
Well,
judges and a court
We're
system.
sort
We'll see.
of a democracy.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what we're made
How
of.
we act on it, it might be, somebody might be one way and you might be another. way.
Yeah,
That's how you.
It'll go to the Supreme Court for sure, I think.
well,
Well,
that's the problem too,
yeah.
because the effect of going to the Supreme
That's right.
Court is, we
That's
know
right.
what that's probably gonna be.
That's right.
It's gonna be, an alternative truth.
We've gotten to the point where individual perception is valid in and of itself, and it's not. We've got people in this country, quite a few, who think the earth is flat. I'm serious, And they use the internet, which uses around earth, to promote it. Yeah, it's really interesting. I think cause and effect is a gift. It can be a very painful gift at times, but it's a real gift. I mean, we talked about this over and over at Pine Rest, where I worked at a psych hospital. This is what happened, and this is what happened next. Cause and effect. And, you need to then reflect on and change your cause in order to get a different effect.
I think if we didn't have cause and effect, perception would become prominent, and that is dangerous.
Right, and I think that's what's happening.
That's what's happening.
That's what's happening.
That's what I'm afraid of, it's already happened.
This is
It's
basic
happening
stuff.
over and over and
That's
over
right, and it's
again.
continuing. I think
Yeah.
that it's becoming very dangerous.
So you can see here too, I think it's just fascinating. This is old stuff and they're way ahead of us as far as this goes. There's death involved in this cause and effect. You eat that apple, we told you you're gonna die, and sure enough, this doesn't sound very good to me. It's not, I was gonna say it's not physical death, but that's in there too. You're gonna go back to the dirt, the dust, where you came from. Because, the other tree that's in the garden is which one? The tree of life, okay? Yeah, that's, right, that's still there, right? Keep that in mind.
Is that in the Bible?
Mm-hmm. I didn't make that up.
There were two trees in the garden.
Two trees in the garden, right? In the middle of the garden. The tree of the knowledge of good and evil and the tree of life. They haven't messed with that yet. All right, we've got 2 minutes. Can I have one excursus? We're gonna end there. I'll do a little excursus on the naming of Eve. And like a lot of words and, names in the Bible, place names and people names, from the Hebrew, it can be translated into different things. And with changes we've talked about, the tetragrammaton, that's I am who I am, Yahweh. I am that I am, and You know, if you change some of the pointings in a name in Hebrew, because there are no vowels in Hebrew, so whatever vowels you want to put in there is going to change the definition or the translation, right? You know that. So you can have I am that I am from Yahweh. You can have I will be who I will be. I will be everything that you need me to be, and it's none of your business. Those are your four big possibilities, depending on what little pointings you have in the Bible. And with Eve, it's similar. The woman who came from the man, the woman who is part of the earth, and there's another one that says, I got this from a really good Old Testament theologian at Princeton. This is the one that can face him. Eve means this is the woman who can face him. And this is the woman who will help him face the world. Pretty good, methinks. Okay, well that's it for today. I appreciate you coming in, and for those of you watching, I appreciate your time too. And
Thank you.
you're welcome. Yeah,
Very
very
nice.
welcome. This is my swan song. I'll laugh.